Ross Pluskin here at the Top Shelf Aquatics Farm. And we are going to be continuing today our running series, What is a Fish? A series where we carve up all the different fish that we can see at our retail store and here at our farm facility. And specifically today, we're going to be acknowledging some of our refugium fish. Now, when you walk into the TSA farm, one of the first things, at least that swept me away, was, my goodness, the refugiums. We have these wonderful tumbling refugiums scattered across our various coral production systems. Gracilaria and Halaminia and Chaetomorpha, all kinds of fun macroalgae in there. Now, we don't have just macroalgae inside our refugiums. Every single refugium that we have is populated with fish. Now, today, we're gonna do a little showcase, a little 3-for-1 on 3 different fish families that we stock into our refugiums for our farm systems here at TSA. So today we're gonna be talking, again, a 3-fer. We're gonna be talking about the Monodactylidae, the monos, the Humulidae, the grunts, and the Scatophagidae, the scats. So we're going to start off with the monos. They're pretty much ubiquitous in all of our refugium systems. You can see them swimming around all kinds of our macro algae and in all the other different refugiums. And you can see a couple different things right off the bat. They are a schooling fish that can handle a good amount of flow. They, in the wild, are pretty ubiquitous. They are found everywhere from the Persian Gulf, all throughout the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean, moving even towards the Indo-Pacific and down towards Australia. And this is because the monos are extremely elastic in their environmental tolerances. These are fish that are happy occupying rivers connected with coasts, mangrove habitats and streams associated with the interaction of that coast and those rivers, even in the open water environment as larger schools of monos move to colonize new areas. But for the most part, these are mangrove estuarine fish, which is why they're so great for our refugiums. They are a fish that's omnivorous. They're not necessarily eating the gracilaria. They're eating the things that grow on the gracilaria. They can handle a good amount of nitrates and phosphates. So even if there's a good amount of organics that build up in the refugium, they're not sensitive and they're resistant to a lot of different diseases, and they're very tough. This makes them very appropriate for liking the refugium. Now let's compare them to the second member of fish that we have here swimming amongst the monos. That's the scats, the Scatophagidae. Scatophagidae means, well, the dung eaters. This is because the man who discovered them was a little mean and, well, pretty much chalked them up as being bottom-feeding fish. Now, observations in the wild and further appreciation has shown us that these are not true feces-feeding fish. They are omnivorous like the monos. They're eating all kinds of small worms and crustaceans, pretty much everything they can get their mouths on, without being a true herbivore like a tang or a rabbitfish. Now, much like the monos, the scats enjoy pretty worldwide distribution, at least as far as warm oceans go. They're not here in the Atlantic, but they, again, can be found in the Persian Gulf, moving towards the Red Sea, Indian Ocean, and then down towards Australia, where this particular species of Scatophagus argus can be found. Now, Scatophagus argus, the dung-eating argus. Argus refers to mythological giant with many eyes, and this is just a little hallmark of the many spots and pigmentation granules that can be found on adult scats. Scats in their native range, again, they like mangrove habitats, dirty rivers, things that are associated with the coast, but they can also be found moving in open water. They are a common food species in Australia and in other parts of their range, but as we have learned to be cautious of, much like the rabbitfish, they have venomous spines around their interior, which can deliver a very, very painful sting. But the scats, again, very omnivorous. They eat a wide variety of things. They are not eating the gracilaria, but something that can grow in the gracilaria is Aiptasia. And that can be very inconvenient for us when we're shipping gracilaria. We want to make sure it doesn't have any pests and enemies on it. So the scats primarily are Aiptasia feeders, cleaning our macro of all various pests and enemies. So we love our scats. And then lastly, I love to feature it because the only member of its family in the farm, also in this tank, is a member of the Humulidae, Humulon cyrus. This is the striped grunt. This is not Indo-Pacific or an Indian or Red Sea species. This is actually from here in Florida. It can be found in Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, the East Coast, all the way down to the Caribbean and South America. So the striped grunt, again, is a little bit of more of a carnivore, shifting away from that omnivore setting. And this is more of something that's going to be going around turtle grass beds, eel grass beds, again, mangroves, the mouths of rivers, but certainly not getting as fresh as the scats and the monos. And they're eating all kinds of worms and anything else, clams and little shrimps, anything that they can find in the sediment and the like. So for the most part, we can see how they kind of fit into the general scheme we have going with the monos and the scats, where they aren't going to be eating the macroalgae that they're in there with, but they're going to be eating everything that's going to be growing on it. The hydroids, pest worms, aptasia, the grunts, the scats, the monos, all these apply constant pressure, cleaning our macroalgae, while at the same time contributing a ton of contribution themselves. All the food, pellets, mysis, you know, when I go like this and feed the tank, they're consuming that meat item and they're processing it through their guts, and they're processing it through all their different microbiomes, all the different bacteria that live inside the guts of these monos, these scats, and these grunts. And then when those fish poop out, they're actually excreting not only nitrogen and phosphorus that we need to keep the balance of our photosynthetic coral systems going, but they're also donating, endowing all that nitrogen and phosphorus with a biological context. The probiotics in their gut also come out, and science is more and more uncovering that it's a very intimate interaction between the feces of various different fish, predatory, coral feeding, herbivorous, and the like, that can greatly sway both the microbiome of corals and the availability of nitrogen and phosphorus to corals. So, in summary, these three wonderful fish families are brackish water, mangrove associated, eelgrass associated brackish water fish that live in estuaries. They get big, they're carnivorous, they produce lots of waste that we can use in the refugium for dosing the rest of the corals with nitrates and phosphates. They have a diverse range of things that they can eat and prey on, which means they have a diverse gut microbiome that we can take advantage of. And they're also schooling. They can handle lots of flow, and they can be happy enough being together in a high concentration box without beating each other up. So for that and many, many other reasons, we love our scats, we love our monos, and we love our grunts here at Top Shelf, and we think you should too. Now, there's a lot of things we could be putting in this refugium and a lot of different gut microbiomes that could be dosed into our tanks. What's the favorite fish that you have in your refugium? Comment below. And if you want to see more information on fish species like this and corals and everything else, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.